like to welcome a special guest. This is Houston Cypress, and Houston is an Everglades protection advocate and a member of the Miccosukee Tribe. And for guests in the U.S. and around the world, in Florida we have two predominant tribes, the Seminoles and the Miccosukee. So, Houston, welcome to It's Happening Out.
Pleasure to be here with y'all. Thank you. Honored. Yeah.
We're very excited. I was very excited to meet Houston. I had dinner with him. We went on a date, and we went out drinking and whoring. Or no, we didn't.
So sorry. I didn't realize you had to go through all of that to get on the show.
It was quite an right, exactly. It was quite exciting because Houston has been developing this concept in the Miccosukees and the Native American tribe in Florida, especially connected with the Everglades, called Queering the Everglades. And Houston is gay. And to be honest with you, before we even start, I am a native Floridian. I have been to the Miccosukee reservation many times, many of the Seminole products in Florida, and I could honestly say, before I met Houston, I never thought about Native American in Florida in terms of gay. And I realized, oh my gosh, how terrible on my part, maybe discriminatory in and of itself. So that's why we're really glad you're here, Houston. Tell us a little bit about the queering of the Everglades and what you do for the Miccosukees.
Sure. Well, Al, I think Queering the Everglades is like my next project in terms of Everglades advocacy. I not only want to invite the queer community, the LGBT folks to come out and explore these places and establish that connection, but I think that in establishing that connection, that there's so much more that we can articulate. Not only is there joy to be found there, not only is there healing to be found there, but also community and adventure, and the mystery is still alive. I think that all of that ties into Queering the Everglades.
One of the things that I was fascinated in the concept is, explain to us as concisely as you can the spiritual nature in the Miccosukee and Native culture about accepting both gay and straight in the same life. Explain that to us.
Sure. Well, you have to, it just comes down to being able to embrace everybody in our families. We all have talents and skills, and so it's this idea of like the two-spirit movement and that revitalization that our communities are working on is so vital because we're trying to recover things that have been hidden, things that have been lost, or things that have been, to put it in bluntly, has been beaten out of us because of history and genocide and these policies that you all have been exploring just a few minutes ago. So really it's about restoring that place of honor that we continue to hold.
Do you call it a tribe? Okay, your tribe, the Miccosukee tribe, Native American tribe, here in Florida, in the Everglades, do they embrace queer, or whatever the term would be in their tribe?
Well, I appreciate you asking that because it kind of illuminates a little bit of the struggle that I've had to grow through in my own life. Like coming out as a gay person was very difficult for me in my community because my community doesn't happen to be one of those tribes that embraces gay or queer or two-spirit people. It's so different all across Turtle Island. Like depending on some communities, it's accepted, it's honored and embraced. Others are tolerated and others are rejected. So like I happen to come from a community that didn't have those roles. So it was very difficult for me growing up. And I think that that's why it's so important for me to be visible, to be create safe spaces for people in my community.
Fantastic.
You said two-spirit twice. What exactly does that mean?
Oh, my bad. So like,
I just make sure I don't fully I can conceive, but what does that mean?
Cool. I appreciate you asking. It's a term that indigenous communities have started to embrace, like in the past, I would say like 30 years or so, and it's about remembering the fact that we have gender diversity in our communities.
Okay.
So like the people that would study and record these histories use problematic language. So words like berdache that we're not necessarily honoring the complete roles that we have in our communities. So the people were getting rid of that old language that was disrespectful and embracing new words that honors the totality of who we are. So people that are blending masculine and feminine energies, that are crossing roles and crossing boundaries, that are the intermediaries between not only the genders, but the spirit and the physical. So it's about those roles that we play in our communities.
Can I just say, first of all, I love your nails. Mine are shamefully not freshly done, and I'm embarrassed. I love your nails.
Thank you.
And I feel so incredibly, like I could cry a little right now. I feel so affirmed and seen right now.
And that is so genuine. I
identify as non-binary or genderqueer or gender fluid, and that means that resonates so much with me, the power of the divine feminine and the divine masculine in one being. And it's something that's so not understood by a lot of people. And just, thank you so much for being that representative.
Me here.
I just want to follow up on the two-spirit philosophy, and I was moved by this when we had dinner. Many native tribes around the United States really openly and very forcefully even embrace the idea of gay involvement in their communities and cherish and honor it. Is that correct?
Yeah, indeed. And I was just reading this article by a Dene scholar. Her name is Trudy Jackson. And she was just telling us in this article that this Red Power movement, right around the same time that Stonewall started. Like, we're looking at indigenous leadership that are trans, that are non-binary, and these folks are the ones that have led the way in terms of social justice back in the 60s, in the 70s, and people that I'm finding inspiration for my environmental advocacy today are those people that are gender diverse, that are fabulous, and that are fierce.
Absolutely fantastic observation. Houston, I want to share something. In the Facebook scrolls that are going on in our conversation right now, somebody has just posted, Houston Cypress. Wow, he's rad as fuck. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Other thoughts about what's going on in Native? Did all of you think about the gay community in Native
Never
American?
Never growing up. And it's interesting that you said that your tribe or community was not one of those that were embracing of the gay community. So was there any other like you, or were you totally alone? As far as are there any other gays in
the Miccosukee?
Yeah,
there was only a handful of people that were out, and I know that there's quite a few other people that are gay or LGBTQ in my community, but they have had to be closeted for safety purposes. Yeah. But I think that that was some dangers and threats that they were facing in a previous generation that we can kind of shake off today. So I'm hoping that people can find their authenticity, can find power, and contribute to the communities that we are a part of, that we have always contributed to.
I think it's very brave of you, very, very brave,
yes, absolutely,
of you or anybody that is such a minority, and it's easier to kind of hide and and not be yourself. Such bravery, and I really applaud you for
Houston is, I agree with that. Houston is a real leader among Native American advocacy for queering the Everglades, which I love. We're talking about expanding this to maybe even focus on a documentary about the gay community and moving towards Stonewall of how important Native American culture is for the gay community. And I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Houston, I should also say, speaks and runs many different kinds of artistic programs. He's a writer, he's an artist, and he speaks frequently at events, at colleges and universities about the gay experience in Native American
You're
culture.
like who I want to be when I grow up.
Thank you.
And being that my indigenous roots go back to Chicano culture.
Okay.
But again, similarly, that machismo kind of overtakes the culture and doesn't allow for gender fluidity at all. So it's definitely a different path, but same, very similar struggle.
Dramatic progress, as Houston would say, is being made in Florida, in the Everglades community. The Miccosukee is a smaller tribe than the Seminoles. The Miccosukees have casino gaming in South Florida. The Seminoles have gigantic gaming in the state of Florida. And you, around the United States, in terms of gaming, you probably don't know this, but the entire Hard Rock chain is owned by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. And the casinos and the hotels and the restaurants, etc., and the franchise branding are all Native American.
And I believe in Florida now we can vote to give back the rights to not just government, but to the people to vote for where that goes, that money goes. But question to you for the viewers, what can we do? I'm not informed enough. What can I do to help? What can other people do to help and understand this situation that is just supportive, particularly meeting you in person and just understanding, but anyone?
You know, I think there's opportunities to visit. Please do. And there's opportunities also to stay away. Please do. And I say it like that because, like, look, come check out our festivals, come to our invitations when we have events and parties and things like that. But there's also like special moments when we have to pray, when we need privacy, like special times of the year. So that's when you stay away. But like, come on over, come visit, come explore. Let's go queer the Everglades together. Come on, I need you.
Let's go queer
We
the
drive through it
Everglades
every
together.
week.
Drive.
to,
Yeah,
Exactly.
come
You
through.
cross through the Everglades.
Come on, let's do it.
And
It's
right by the
beautiful, too.
Miccosukee reservation. It's fantastic. Houston, we thank you very much for
Appreciate
being
you.
It's Happening Out. We have a great commitment to gay culture, and I really think this segment allows us to expand the discussion of gay culture in the United States. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we
Thanks,
have more to come.